Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wa salatu wa salamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. I've got the last lot and I need to try to sell the Maktab roll. I can't sell it, but what I can say to you is there's a massive demand. So where there's salary, there's not much of a demand, but where salary is quite humble, there's a huge demand. So I would say we can manage the lot of you. If you want a job, we can give you a job tomorrow in Maktabs. So don't worry about it. I need to rattle on because you can see there's quite a bit there. Hifz, Alamiya and Maktab and other sort of courses we need to look at. What does it involve? I've put down there something like an idealistic description of what it involves. I'm not sure what people think Maktab, Alim classes and so on involves. I'm not sure what's in your mind or what you've seen, what you haven't seen. But ideally, or something close to ideal, is this. You need to plan your lessons. You need to set targets. Maulana Sahab just now, I think, is well aware of what I'm talking about. You need to assess the learning, walk around the room, and not sit around. It's quite important. Sometimes I feel like removing the chairs or the place where the Ustad sits, because it sometimes interrupts the learning of the child. Managing behavior, as Maulana Sahab said, you can be attacked with paper planes if you don't manage behavior. You need to meet parents, you need to prepare and present reports, you need to follow policies and procedures, if the Maktab has policies and procedures, and you need to be involved in extracurricular activities and events like fundraising and so on. So it's a very challenging role, it's a very important role, and what I would say is that, I'll come to that later on, this is probably the most in-demand job for an alim and the most underestimated job of an alim. We see nursery teachers who go in, get qualifications, and they serve as nursery teachers for the rest of their lives with pride. And we see Maktab teachers who go in because they cannot find anything better to do. So it's a 2-hour time-killing exercise for the rest of their lives. So that culture needs to be sort of turned around. And it's very likely, or it is possible, that your first post as a Maktab teacher or Alimiya teacher or Hifz teacher can involve a role of management or headship, and that is much more demanding. Any Maktab, any madrasa needs a manager, needs a leader who is clued up with management. And if you're not clued up, you need to quickly learn what management's all about. And it's likely you'll be given a job with management responsibilities within your Maktab teaching. So you need to quickly learn and go to those who know. You need to plan and monitor schemes of work. Schemes of work is what's to be taught over the 5, 6, 7, 10 years. So that needs to be planned by you as a manager, and you need to ensure that's being delivered. You need to ensure progress is being made, attainment is being made, and that assessments are accurate. And then once all that data comes back to you, you need to analyze that data. 50 out of 50, when it comes back to you, you need to do something about that 50 out of 50. 40 out of 50, when it comes back to you, you need to do something about that. So how do you analyze that data and plan interventions where a child is underachieving and that data comes to you? How do you deal with that? What are you going to do about that? You need to carry out observations and take learning walks as a manager. Walk into the classroom, look at what's happening, and make formal and informal observations. You need to manage staffs. There's all sorts of issues there. You need to have meetings and liaise with external stakeholders. The masjid that you're in may expect you to organize some sort of nasheed night or some sort of jalsa with the students. So you need to be prepared to do that, and you have to know how to do that. For example, you may organize a wonderful event, but not once in the event will you mention the name of your organization. That's quite a big failure. Because those who are coming from outside, should know what you're about, who you are, and what you're doing, and so on. Right at the bottom, alongside ta'lim and tarbiyah, it's very important that all our madaris, all our makatib, all of our institutions are compliant. There's two things. One is to be compliant, and one is the quality of compliance. Two things we need to look at. Compliance with everything. Okay, when you have an organization, you need to meet the requirements of local authority, of safeguarding and health and safety and charity commission and so on. So you need, as a manager, if you are a manager of a maktab or a madrasa, you have to be aware of all of that and then make sure you're compliant, you're ticking all those boxes, and beyond ticking those boxes, you are going much further than that. So that's quite important, because, and the reason why I'm mentioning this here is that your mindset walking into a madrasa or a maktab has to be that. At the moment, what I feel, I can't say it's the case, but what I feel is that the mindset, it's all about ta'lim. It is all about ta'lim. But we need to set standards as organizations. We need to set a standard. So if Hifz is 110% at a place, but there is no fire exit, that's a failing. That's a organizational failing. So we need to take a look at both sides and make sure we're delivering on both fronts. What are the aims and objectives? People will have all sorts of aims and objectives, and I'm sure they're all correct. But what I could think of is, as teachers of Hifz, Alimiyya, Maktab, we want to educate, inspire and enlighten others for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to produce a well-educated community that is conscious of its responsibilities towards the Creator, to the creation, and towards oneself. And then these are the different types of settings you'll have. You've got the traditional Darul Ulooms, where you have the Hifz and Alimiyya. There aren't many jobs around, very few jobs, and normally they're taken up before they even, they're not posted. And these jobs will be taken up because there's select few individuals who, you'll be teaching at the highest level, at the greatest organizations, so it's really near impossible to get one of those jobs. But then you have the local masjid, where lots of activities, educational activities are taking place, and I think there's a lot of demand in that area. And then you have dedicated educational establishments. Now we are seeing the rise of these education establishments. There's more and more coming up every day, and there is good opportunity for everyone here to take part in whatever's happening in those places. And then you have distance and online learning. Again, this is something coming up, and that's pretty much open for anyone to do, even for themselves. But you need to know what you're doing before you embark on a journey like that. Suitability. In terms of your character, to be a teacher at Maktab or Hifz or whatever it is, you need to be passionate about it. You have to have passion and drive. You need to be patient. You need to be committed. Let me explain to you what committed means. You have an opportunity to deliver a talk in the USA, for example, because you've been invited at a great conference, or at a masjid, a prominent masjid locally. But the timing of that talk is 5 to 7. What are you going to go for? That your answer will tell you whether you're suitable to be a Hifz teacher or not. You need to get your priorities right. You need to be professional in conduct. Boy doesn't learn his sabak. The teacher says, "Did your dad not have time to teach you? Was he watching so-and-so program?" Yeah, it's quite bad. It's judgmental. Very judgmental. So you have to be professional in conduct, and that includes attendance and punctuality. My personal standard for myself and for everyone else is 97%. Staff have to be in on time at least 97% throughout the year. That's basic. I would say 100%, but I can't really say that. So 97%, and we have that for our students at school as well. And you need to be driven to help others, self-discipline. You have to be receptive. When there is criticism coming your way, you need to take that on board and make improvements. Knowledge and skills, we know about that. Sound pedagogy means you need to somehow try to get an understanding of the theory of teaching and the practical side of it, which Maulana Dilawar Sahab touched upon previously. And if you're a manager, I would say you need experience of managing, at least middle management somewhere. If you don't have that experience, you need to go and shadow someone with experience. It's very important. Knowledge of law and regulations, because if you mess up and your management committee has put it down in your job description that you need to manage the health and safety of the building, you're not sure how to do that, but you just go about your day-to-day, something happens, you're in trouble. Okay, so you need to make sure you know what's happening. You need to know organizational structures. Normally our organizations, they need a top-heavy structure, top-heavy, right? Which means the management needs to pull through the workforce. Okay, because we're getting a lot of people who are young, inexperienced, so the management needs to pull them through. You need knowledge of education management, contextual awareness. What that means, I'll pose you a quick question. There's a madrasa, 500 students. Every year, 100 students are graduating at the age of 16, a Maktab. And they are studying all the different disciplines, including Arabic, up to Arabic Dome level. And this is the Maktab. And you have a second madrasa, 200 students. 15 are graduating every year. And they go through only the Tasheelul Fiqh series. Which one is more successful? One or two? Madrasa 1? Agree? Or 2? Not necessarily, depends of context. Madrasa 1 might be in Baghdad 200 years ago. Madrasa 2 might be in Chigwell, 2017. Right? So which one now is more successful? We don't know. And you need thick skin. I think the Darul guys are quite good at that. Benefits of the role, great pay. The problem is in a hereafter. There is formal training available, but the organizations don't normally make that available. It's available, but it's not really available. And where it is available, we have the new graduates say, no, we know it all. You don't. There is limited resources in terms of finance. Madrasas are charging like £5 a week or something per student. And there's limited teaching, and there are some good curriculum resources at the moment, but a lot needs to be done in that area. This is what you need. You know what you need to be a Hifz, Alim or Maktab teacher. Safeguarding is quite important. You need to have at least level 1 safeguarding qualifications. Very, very easy to get hold of. You can even do that online. There will be a requirement for a clean enhanced DBS. And nowadays there is a requirement for all these things here as well. We'll be teaching 2 to 3 hours normally. These jobs are part-time, so you need work elsewhere. Salary, you know what the salary is like, but I've given you a basic rate, which is a national minimum wage ranging up to 10 hours per hour. Or if the masjid is a bit more established, they have more funds, they may pay you a bit more than that. And this is what it can come up to per annum gross means before tax and things is taken off. And if you want more information, it's at the bottom. Jazakumullah khair.